You're eating cereal at 6 a.m., staring at your investment account on your phone, doing that mental math that never quite adds up. How much do I actually need to retire? When can I stop feeling broke? Am I building wealth or just treading water? Here's what nobody tells you about retirement savings. There's a specific number where everything changes. Not $1 million, not some vague enough to be comfortable target. $250,000. That's the escape velocity, where your money stops being dead weight and starts doing push-ups while you sleep. Most people think $250,000 means you've made it. You haven't. But you've also crossed the line where physics changes, where your money transforms from this thing you constantly feed into something that actually feeds you back. It's the moment you stop being the motor and become the passenger, because momentum has finally taken over. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, because we're about to break down exactly why this number rewrites the rules of wealth building and how reaching it feels like your money just learned how to bench press your salary. Let's talk about why saving your first $250,000 feels like pushing a boulder up a mountain, while saving your second $250,000 feels like watching it roll downhill on a rocket fuel. The secret isn't compound interest, it's compound psychology. And once you understand how your brain rewires itself at this threshold, you'll never think about money the same way again. Here's the thing most financial advice gets backwards. They tell you compound interest is important. Then they show you some chart with lines going up and your eyes glaze over because it feels theoretical. So let me explain it differently, using the physics that actually change your life. Imagine you're building a rocket at Cape Canaveral. At first, you're doing all the work. You're loading fuel, assembling components, running diagnostics. The rocket just sits there, consuming resources, getting heavier. That's you saving your first $10,000, $20,000, $50,000. Every dollar came from your labor, your sacrifice, your decision to drive that 15-year-old Honda Civic while your friends lease BMWs. But here's where it gets interesting. Once that rocket reaches escape velocity, 11.2 kilometers per second, something magical happens. It stops fighting gravity and starts being pulled by the cosmos. It accelerates without burning more fuel. That's compound interest at $250,000. That's your money achieving financial escape velocity. At $250,000 invested at 7% annual returns, which is roughly what the stock market has historically averaged, your money generates $17,500 every single year without you lifting a finger. Read that again, $17,500 annually. That's like having a part-time job you don't have to show up for. No boss questioning your vacation requests, no performance reviews, no commute. Your money just sits there getting stronger while you're sleeping, eating breakfast, or binge-watching Netflix. Now think about how long it would take you to save $17,500 through pure labor. If you're saving $1,000 a month, which is aggressive for most people, that's almost 2 years of grinding. But at $250,000, your money does that automatically every 12 months. This is the moment when your money stops being something you push and becomes something that pulls you up the mountain. But here's the brutal truth that makes the first $250,000 so psychologically devastating. For years, maybe even a decade, you won't feel this momentum. You'll save $1,000 a month and your account will crawl upward. You'll save $2,000 a month and it still feels like pushing rope. The compound interest is working, but it's invisible. It's like planting a money tree and staring at dirt for months, wondering if anything's happening underground. The math is working against you at first because your contributions are the only thing moving the needle. If you have $10,000 invested and it grows 7%, that's $700. Exciting, right? Not really. $700 feels like nothing when you're trying to reach $250,000. It's pocket change, it's a car repair, it's gone before you feel rich. But when you have $250,000 and it grows 7%, that's $17,500. Now we're talking. Now the math is working for you instead of against you. Now, compound interest stops being this cute concept from finance class and becomes your personal money printing machine. This is why the first $250,000 is the hardest money you'll ever save. And this is exactly why most people never get there. They give up during the invisible years, when progress feels impossible, when every financial emergency destroys months of progress, when they're grinding uphill without seeing the compound avalanche that's building behind the scenes. But here's where most people get stuck before they even start. It's not actually the math that stops them, it's the identity transformation required to reach $250,000. Because getting there doesn't just change your bank account, it rewrites who you are as a person. And that transformation happens in 3 specific identity shifts that most people never talk about. Identity shift 1, from consumer to capital allocator. There's a moment on the path to $250,000 where your brain completely rewires how it processes spending decisions. You stop asking, can I afford this? And start asking, does this accelerate or delay my escape velocity? This sounds like a small change. It's not. It's everything. When you're thinking like a consumer, you see a nice restaurant and think, I can afford $80 for dinner. When you're thinking like a capital allocator, you see that same restaurant and think $80 compounded at 7% for 20 years is $309. Am I getting $309 worth of utility from this meal? This shift touches everything. Your car, your apartment, your subscriptions, that gym membership you use twice a month. Every single financial decision gets filtered through this new lens. Does this move me closer to escape velocity or further away? And look, I'm not saying you become some joyless robot who never enjoys life. I'm saying you develop what I call compound consciousness, where you viscerally understand that every dollar has a future value. You still go out to dinner, but you choose the $35 entree instead of the $60 one, because that $25 difference, compounded over decades, represents actual wealth. Identity shift 2, from paycheck dependent to optionality builder. The second shift is even more powerful. It's the moment you realize you're not just saving money, you're buying freedom. When you have zero savings, you're completely dependent on your next paycheck. Your boss knows it, your landlord knows it, you know it. Every decision you make is constrained by this reality. Here's the math that most financial advisors won't show you because it's too discouraging. If you save $1,000 per month and invest it at 7% annual returns, you'll hit $250,000 in roughly 12 years. 12 years! That's a long time to maintain discipline. That's a long time to resist lifestyle inflation. That's a long time to watch friends buy houses and cars while you're channeling money into invisible investment accounts. But if you can push that to $2,000 monthly, you cut the timeline to roughly 7 years. 7 years versus 12 years, that's 5 extra years of compound interest working in your favor. 5 years closer to the moment when your money starts generating serious passive income. And here's what blows my mind. Every extra dollar you save doesn't just add to the total, it accelerates the entire timeline exponentially. An extra $100 monthly doesn't just mean $1,200 more per year. It means $1,200 that compounds for decades. Over 20 years at 7% returns, that extra $100 monthly becomes an additional $52,000. You're not just saving an extra $100, you're accelerating your escape velocity by years. So how do you actually get to $2,000 monthly in savings? You pull 3 specific levers and you pull them hard. Lever 1, increase income aggressively. Side hustles aren't optional at this stage, they're strategic weapons. I don't care if you're driving for Uber, freelancing design work, consulting in your expertise area, or flipping items on eBay. Every extra dollar of income is a dollar that can compound for 30 years. But here's the real income lever nobody talks about: career advancement and salary negotiation. A $15,000 raise if you're saving aggressively can shave years off your timeline to $250,000. Not months, years. Most people underestimate how much a single promotion can accelerate their wealth building. And here's the rule that changed everything for me: the 72-hour rule. Anytime you get a raise, bonus, or windfall, you have 72 hours to redirect that extra money straight to investments before lifestyle creep destroys it. After 72 hours, your brain recalibrates to the new income level, and suddenly you need that money for other things. Automate the increase to your retirement accounts within 3 days, or it's gone. Lever 2, cut strategically, not desperately. I'm not going to tell you to stop buying coffee. That's not where your wealth goes to die. Your wealth dies in the big 3: housing, transportation, and lifestyle inflation. Housing is the monster. Everyone tells you to keep housing at 30% of your income. That's fine advice if you want to reach $250,000 at a normal pace, but if you want escape velocity faster, you need to challenge that number. Can you live with roommates longer? Can you stay in a smaller place for 3 more years? Every $200 you save on rent is another $200 that compounds. Over a decade, that's not $24,000 saved, that's $33,000 in investment growth. You're not just cutting expenses, you're buying years of your life back. Transportation is the other killer. The average car payment in America is $700 monthly. That's $8,400 annually that could be compounding. I'm not saying drive a death trap, but that reliable used car that costs $15,000 instead of $40,000 just bought you 2 years of acceleration toward escape velocity. Lever 3, invest automatically and immediately. Here's why save then invest fails while invest automatically succeeds. Willpower is a finite resource. If you have to manually move money from checking to investments every month, you'll find reasons not to do it. The car needs maintenance, your friend's getting married, you deserve a vacation. But if the money never hits your checking account, you can't spend it. This is why automatic 401k contributions work better than IRA contributions for most people. The money disappears before you can rationalize spending it. Pay yourself first isn't just advice, it's the only strategy that actually works long term. But here's what changes once you cross that $250,000 threshold. The mathematical acceleration becomes visible and genuinely addictive. Remember that $17,500 your money generates annually at 7%? That number isn't theoretical anymore. It shows up in your account statements. You can watch it happen in real time. That's equivalent to a part-time job you never have to work. No commute, no boss micromanaging your bathroom breaks, no performance reviews where they tell you to take initiative while simultaneously crushing your initiative. Your money just multiplies itself while you sleep. And here's the part that makes the first $250,000 worth all that sacrifice. The next $250,000 takes roughly half the time, maybe 4 years instead of 8, maybe 6 years instead of 12. The compound momentum you built becomes unstoppable. The rocket has achieved escape velocity and now it's accelerating toward Mars. But the real transformation isn't mathematical, it's psychological. Your relationship with money fundamentally changes. Money stops being this source of constant stress and becomes a tool to design your life. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and start asking, "Is this aligned with who I want to become?" Your risk tolerance increases because you have a foundation. When you have zero savings, every decision feels dangerous. Taking a new job feels terrifying. Starting a business feels impossible. Even planning a vacation triggers anxiety about whether you can actually afford it. But when you have $250,000, these same decisions feel manageable. Not easy, not risk-free, but manageable. You can take that new job because you know you have cushion if it doesn't work. You can start that side business because failure won't destroy you financially. You can negotiate from strength instead of fear. But let's be real about what doesn't change. You're not rich, you're strategically positioned. You still need to work, you still need to save, you still need to make smart decisions. $250,000 isn't "I'm done" money, it's "I've fundamentally shifted my trajectory" money. You're not gonna quit your job and sail around the world, you're gonna keep building, but now you're building with momentum instead of grinding uphill. You're building from a position of strength instead of desperation. You're in the compound acceleration phase instead of the accumulation struggle phase. The question shifts from "Will I ever have enough?" to "How much is enough for the life I actually want?" You're not financially independent yet, but you're financially stable. And that stability creates space for bigger risks, bolder moves, and more intentional choices about how you want to spend the decades ahead. Your expensive education in reaching $250,000 becomes your most valuable asset. Knowledge about delayed gratification, compound growth, and identity transformation that will serve you for the rest of your wealth-building journey. Because now you know the secret that most people never learn. Money isn't the goal. Escape velocity is the goal. And once you achieve it, everything else becomes possible.